So let's talk about two developing stories concerning Donald Trump, each of which involves the prospect of criminal charges. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So let's talk about two related stories. Related because they both involve Donald Trump and they both involve potential criminal charges. The first is something we learned at yesterday's congressional hearings into the January 6th Capitol attack. And the second story involves Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And it poses the question, what might Governor DeSantis do if Donald Trump is indicted by New York District Attorney Vance on New York State charges while Donald Trump is lumbering around Mar-a-Lago? But let's start with an important and frankly incriminating piece of information that we learned at yesterday's congressional hearing into the attack on the Capitol. This is the headline from Reuters. Trump wanted troops to protect his supporters at January 6th rally. Now, this is according to the testimony of Donald Trump's short-lived acting Secretary of Defense, Chris Miller. You know, the one that Donald Trump appointed after Donald Trump lost the election. Nothing fishy going on there. Here's how that article starts. President Donald Trump wanted National Guard troops in Washington to protect his supporters at a January 6th rally that ended with them attacking the U.S. Capitol, leaving 5 dead. Trump's former Pentagon chief testified on Wednesday. Folks, I predict that statement will be introduced as evidence in a criminal trial of Donald Trump for inciting the insurrection. Donald Trump did not ask the Secretary of Defense to have the troops protect the people in the U.S. Capitol, not the members of Congress, not the interns, not the kitchen staff in the cafeteria, not the janitorial staff, not the Speaker of the House, not the Vice President. I want you to protect my supporters. I'd sure like to know if Donald Trump ever asked the Secretary of Defense to make sure the troops protect Black Lives Matter protesters. If you'll recall, when there's a Black Lives Matter protest, a civil rights protest, an equal rights protest, Donald Trump, Bill Barr, and others, they just go ahead and gas the protesters so Donald Trump can waltz across the street, hold the Bible upside down in front of a building in which he never worshiped. I predict that statement that we learned about yesterday, protect the rioters, the mob, the insurrectionists, my supporters, protect them. That's what I want the troops to do. That will make an appearance at a future criminal trial of Donald Trump. Let's turn to the second story. The second story involves the prospect of Donald Trump being indicted on New York State charges by District Attorney Vance while Donald Trump is in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. Here is the reporting about that, and hold on tight, folks, because this one's a doozy. Headline from Politico: How Palm Beach is preparing for a possible Trump indictment. The article begins, law enforcement officials in Palm Beach County, Florida, have actively prepared for the possibility that Manhattan District Attorney Vance could indict former President Donald Trump while he's at Mar-a-Lago, according to 2 high-ranking county officials involved in the planning sessions. Among the topics discussed in those meetings, how to handle the thorny extradition issues that could arise if an indictment moves forward. An obscure clause in Florida's statute on interstate extradition gives Governor Ron DeSantis the ability to intervene and even investigate whether an indicted person ought to be surrendered to law enforcement officials from another state. What could possibly go wrong putting Ron DeSantis in charge of whether Donald Trump should be removed, extradited from Florida so he can face criminal charges in New York? Might Ron DeSantis just, hide out Donald Trump in Florida's basement? So I will do a future video, folks, on the ins and outs of extradition hearings. And extradition is just a fancy word for when one state, we'll use the example of a state indicting somebody, one state indicts somebody, but the person is located in another state. So he has to be extradited, taken, removed from that state to the state that indicted him so he can stand charges. Usually, an extradition hearing is a simple identity hearing. Let me give you an example. If New York indicted somebody named John Jones, and Florida, acting on that New York indictment, arrested a John Jones, then the only question to be answered at an extradition hearing is the John Jones in Florida the same John Jones that the New York state authorities indicted and are seeking? That's it. So I don't think there will be much question as to whether the Donald Trump that New York indicts is the same Donald Trump lumbering around Mar-a-Lago, one and the same former president. But here's the thing, folks. All of this nonsense, right? Hints that Governor DeSantis might try to hide Donald Trump from New York state authorities who want to prosecute him, or Georgia state authorities when they indict him for, the election law violations that were caught on audio tape on that telephone call. All of this highlights one important and inescapable fact. Donald Trump is a federal problem, and we need a federal solution rather than having the DeSantises of the world have any involvement in anything that may or may not happen to Donald Trump. We don't want Donald Trump hopping from red state to red state, hiding out. He's a federal problem, and the reason I say that is because he committed more federal crimes than we can count. But we could start with the 10 federal felony obstruction of justice offenses documented in the Mueller report, for which Bob Mueller testified under oath Donald Trump could be prosecuted the moment he left office. Donald Trump is a federal problem, and we need a federal solution. We need federal indictments. I welcome every jurisdiction holding Donald Trump accountable for crimes he committed in that jurisdiction, Florida, Georgia, and elsewhere. But he's a federal problem, and we need a federal solution. And what that looks like is a federal indictment, because that will bring justice. And justice matters. Folks, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.